Welcome to truthmafia.com. This is Conspiracy Cinema Saturday, and this is called Fair Use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107.
Tonight we welcome you to a realm of mystifying enigmas. A realm where the boundaries between fact and fiction blur, between the visible and the invisible. Welcome to Conspiracy Cinema Saturday. This is not your typical movie night. Here your guides are Tommy Truthful and Paranoid American, the most tenacious detectives of the Truth Mafia. These brave cinema sleuths are on a mission to unmask the obscure and decode the ubiquitous. To delve into the shadows of Hollywood's most popular and cryptic films and expose the hidden occult symbolism and messages concealed within. Are you ready to question the world as you know it? Join us as we journey into the underbelly of the silver screen, one frame at a time. So grab your popcorn and get ready for another episode of Conspiracy Cinema Saturday from Truth Mafia.
Welcome, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to Conspiracy Cinema Saturday, and I am here with my brother from another mother, Paranoid American. What's up, bro?
What up, man? Let's stamp those tickets and get these people into the theater.
Let's do it. So we're getting into the Barbie decode today, and we're going to talk about several other movies because Barbie got into the whole portal symbolism, which got me to watch Insidious, and that was about the portal, the further, this red door, Insidious, the red door. It's called the further, where you astro project there, and it's the same thing as the upside down in Stranger Things, this realm of these demonic monsters, and if you go too far into it, you can get possessed. And there's even CIA documents where they were actually doing this astral projection. And then it gets into the Montauk project where they were actually pulling entities out of this realm, and monsters were running around the place. And the black goo is on the door in Insidious. So what do you know about that project with the whole Montauk project and them pulling that entity out using the Montauk chair?
I know a little bit about it. I think Barbie's the perfect segue between all of this because when I was watching Barbie, I saw a lot of like Project Monarch programming nods, and Monarch is sort of adjacent to Project Montauk. And like you mentioned, Project Montauk is sort of the inspiration between Stranger Things. A lot of it is also based on a book series by Preston Nichols and a few other people. And this is the one that takes place at Camp Hero. And last time that we were talking about Long Island and Amityville and Babylon, New York, that's all sort of like miles away from where this Camp Hero and where Montauk happened. And the general premise of Montauk is pretty insane. It's that they have this thing called the hero chair. I can't remember the exact name of it. They've got this like special chair that you sit in, and this chair can sort of amplify your ability to astral project. So if you can do it normally by sitting in this chair and they would wire it up with electricity, that would help you amplify your ability. And the idea was that someone sat in that chair, they amplified their ability, and then oops, they let in like a big monster, tore a rift, and apparently it like destroyed a whole bunch of houses, and it kind of like wreaked havoc on a very small section of town. That's the urban legend version of this. But Project Montauk also relates to the Philadelphia experiment. This is where like an entire ship kind of like disappeared and then came back. But when it came back, people were fused to the inside of the ship and inside of the metal. And that was another reference to this weird ability to not just astral project, but almost transport yourself into different time periods and different dimensions. And that's all Montauk.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And anybody out there that has ever astro projected, about the further. So you're viewing what's going on here in the physical in real time, but you're viewing it from this other realm, which is called the further or the upside down. And Yeah, it's the realm of nightmares. It really is a scary thing. And Insidious, I can never say that right. Um we have the black goo dripping down the red door, and they're trying to keep the demons in through that red door, and the red door equals 45 in Chaldean, matching mind control, COVID vaccine, Pandora's box, possession. And you know what we talk about with the jabs, the graphene that's in it, which is the black goo. So, I found that connection interesting, which is a storehouse for demonic consciousness. It turns your body into an avatar so that they can, use you. These demons can literally use you as an avatar. Now, before we get going, my brothers and sisters, all the links are down in the description. I want to show you guys a few things really quick, and then we'll get into it. All links down below. If you're on my Facebook, you'll see the links. This is from the Tommy Truthful 369, my literal Facebook. So you can join our, if you want a free numerology astrology reading, we got the $26 package right there. Bam, you come over here, you book your reading. That gets you a chart too. So what I mean by a chart, I'll show you after I'm done plugging what the chart looks like and one of the decodes I did. You can do it the email way, which is only $17. You still get the chart that way as well. And it's very easy. You just come over here, you book it. You see when I got an opening, bam, you book it. You check out as a guest, and you don't have to have a PayPal account. It just goes through PayPal to keep your transaction secure. And also, where is my other one? If you want to get your dreams interpreted, I have some of the best AI technology that in a nanosecond, it goes out and grabs all the dream interpretations on the whole internet and brings them back to me. And then I use that with my decoding skills to break down what your dream means. So that's done all via email. It's $11.11. You really can't beat it. And all Paranoid Americans links are down here as well, guys. His YouTube, his website. Come over here, check out some of his comics. He's got some amazing comic books. The person I decoded last night, they actually bought one of these for their children, and they love it. The chemtrail one.
Yeah, that's my Connect the Dots series, which is like a children's book that talks about chemtrails. Got like 50 pages of original artwork.
Yeah, he's got some really cool stuff over here. This one here is my favorite. If you want to know Tommy Truthful's favorite, it's the Paranoid American History 101. And we're getting ready to put together some cards. Like Jay Dreams will have his own truther card. Tommy Truthful,
Right.
Donut Factory. We're going to have all these different cards, guys, that you can collect. So it'll be really cool. But yeah, you see all of our links are right here. If you click on this one, it'll give you all Tommy Truthful's social media links. And except for this one is now terminated. They got rid of that YouTube. So, but all the other ones are down there. You can go through and see them. And I got some really cool developments over here on Truth Mafia that I wanted to touch on really fast. Like we set up the groups, the made members is launching hopefully on 8/8, and you'll be able to come in this made member group and share information, with each other, post videos, kind of like what we did over on Truthful TV, but on a whole nother level. And then once you're a made member, if you want to be an affiliate, you can share our videos and actually make money doing it. So, we offer many ways for our people to get their membership pretty much for free just by sharing the videos. And Paranoid American has done phenomenal job with the calculator. Now, if you hit enter in any cipher,
this is a secret cheat code for people watching.
Yeah, any cipher you're in, you hit enter, and it'll give you 13,000 matches. So whatever possession.
And what it's doing there too, if you see all those colored tabs right there, that's the value of the word that you just entered in all of these different ciphers, more that you even see originally, and then it'll cross-reference every other match from any other word from those ciphers. And we'll be adding in a way to basically filter this down, so you don't have to
Yes.
go through 15,000. But it's helpful if you're just trying to find every single match that could possibly be out there. I don't know of any other site that lets you do this right now.
No other sites are doing this. But yeah, what the option we're going to put on here, guys. So you say you want to just do Chaldean, you'll have that option to just match it in Chaldean and just match it in Sepentry. But we found some discretions on the other calculator that we're looking into. It seems that guy might have been putting out some disinformation from day one, and we all know who we're talking about. So we're going to look into it more. But we're pretty damn sure that's what's going on. And, it's just a shame when people do that because so many people got used to that cipher. But we got to make sure it's right, guys. We got to make sure.
Yeah, we're going to triple check the math, but we're going to make sure that this is the accurate one.
Right. And in the decode I did last night, this guy, he actually bought one of your comics for his daughter. His decode was so interesting, bro. Okay, he's a Sicilian brother from Australia, Joe Valenti, which equals 38 in Chaldean. And 38 spelled out equals 58, matching his name in reverse reduction. His birth card is a 6 of clubs, and his tarot card is the number 17 card, which is the star card. It has 8 stars on it, the 8-pointed star. He has a daughter that is 8 years old right now as he did the decode, and all the 8 connections with his he's a musician is 17, 7 plus 1 is 8. He's a runner in a super cipher matches his last name, Valenti. So I found it very interesting, all the connections. And then the 58th prime number is 271. You spell that out, it equals 58, matching his cipher in that 58 code. And his birthday was 5/26 of 1975. He's an 8 life path number. And you guys see every one of his ciphers ends with the 8. The musician, 7 plus 1 is 8. And his tarot card is the damn 8-pointed star, which represents a gateway, the star of Anana, the star of Ishtar, this stargate that would open up in the sky, and they said these reptilian gods would come through it. So that kind of gets into CERN and what they're doing with this technology, opening portals to other realms. Now, before we get into Barbie, there's a new cartoon out. It's called Praise Petey, where they're literally sacrificing people and drinking the blood. And I am not joking. Not just are they doing that, but there's these asteroid or these comets all throughout it. They got the money is called comet bucks in there. You see the comet. Did you notice that, Paranoid American? The comet throughout the whole thing.
I didn't notice that. I also didn't notice it says Mike Judge. So that's the Beavis and Butthead creator is one of the EPs on this. I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Donut broke all that down. And the first time they show you the comet is at 129 in, which is Wormwood 129. And right now, that top picture up there with the winged looking comet, that's a real thing. That's on the news trending. They call it the Devil Comet heading towards Earth, which it looks a whole lot like what they describe Nibiru as. And I believe Nibiru is a dimension. I don't believe it's a planet. That's my opinion. It's called the astronomer spot horns coming out of comet after sudden mass outburst. They said a volcano blew up or something, right? And the name of that comet equals 58, matching Praise Petey. So there's some predictive programming going on in that Praise Petey about this comet. And I think it's Wormwood. Revelations 8:11, a third of the stars fall from heaven. You could see here all the different scenes with the comet in it. And from the release of this on July 21st, to Monday, July 31st, when we did the decode connecting to the comet and shit, is 11 days which 47, 4 plus 7, 11, praise PD 47, that whole 47 degree Masonic compass connection. But yeah, it was crazy. What did you think about it, Paranoid American?
I mean, I kind of thought it was like a stupid cartoon. Like some of the jokes were kind of silly. They do a lot of pop culture references, but I don't know. I have an affinity towards anything that starts making fun of cults. So I kind of like it when I see cartoon and they're talking about like human sacrifice, and I don't know if it's because I don't think it's perpetuating it. It's more of like making light of it and introducing it to people so that you actually understand that it's either going on now or that it has influenced people at the highest levels. But I just find it such a fascinating concept. I don't know. I
Well,
think this is more interesting than just like another random cartoon would be.
yeah, it is, but there's still a thing there where they are normalizing it. And see, just what you described is normalizing the sacrifice. So, and a lot of kids are watching this too. And in
Oh wow, I didn't see that either, man. That's crazy.
the monarch butterfly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's all throughout it, dude. It's all throughout it, the monarch butterfly. So yeah, I caught that. You know me, dude.
You'd have to be. I feel like all these symbols that you're picking up on, the comet, the monarch butterfly, like normally you can make an argument if it's a coincidence, but since this is specifically an animation about cults and about conspiracies, and I've gone into this in my occult Disney series too, but the way the animation works, if that little butterfly is on that chick's hand right now, someone stared at that exact frame or like this series of frames for 2 or 3 hours, maybe 2 or 3 days. So there's almost nothing that's unintentional when it comes to frames of animation.
Right. Yeah, 100%, man. And the Barbie decode also gets into mind control in the occult. Barbie Land 26, which Chaldean is occult. And look, guys, she's in the Barbie Land, right? Now, she in the Barbie Land, this thing called quantum entanglement happens where Barbie, her character, is entangled with the DNA of the little girl that's playing with her, and it opens a portal from Barbie Land to the real world, which allows Barbie to step out. And I asked Paranoid American before we went live, I said, bro, we live in a reality created of thought forms. And so it's that old thing. If enough people, think about Barbie Land, then is Barbie Land really real? Is there, you know what I'm saying? And what did you say about that, Paranoid American?
So that's also the concept of an egregore. And there's also a concept of Maya from like Toltec traditions, where basically the entire world is just an amalgamation of shared illusions between people. So when the entire world agrees on a shared upon illusion, that kind of becomes the reality. I mean, that's a very woo-woo, philosophical way of going about it. But the other aspect of this too is that the reality of Barbie, and I do this with Disney too, like the reality of Disney, it's more real than our actual reality, because in 100 years from now, everyone's probably still going to be able to figure out exactly what a Barbie house looked like and who Barbie is, even her personality. But they're not going to know about Tommy Truthful and Paranoid American. I mean, maybe they will, but I'm just saying, like, on a law of averages, these sort of talismans, right? Barbie turns into a magical talisman.
They will remember us, brother. I'll make sure of it.
Is that a threat? No,
No,
you know what I mean though. But like this one Barbie. So if you believe in this concept that a shared illusion makes like an egregore, makes this thought form, imagine, and especially the concept of children being closer to that original magic, because they're the closest to the creator, right? They just got here, so they haven't had this time to become jaded by the world. So if you take all the children across the planet and have them all sort of meditate and talk and refer to this very same symbol and call it the same name, right? Everyone calls it Barbie. That feels like the strongest sort of magical spell you could even come across, because if children really are more magical, then what could be more magical than giving them all an identical talisman and have them, sort of like worship it all the time?
Yeah, the gentleman that played the character of Barbie did a great job, that gentleman. And that's just a little Nod to my people that know what it is. Preston, does this other guy have his own page? Yes. All his links are down in the description below. Preston, and his website is paranoidamerican.com. You can find him on Rumble as Paranoid American and on YouTube as Paranoid American. He also started his own Patreon at Paranoid American. So all of his links are down below. But yeah, bro, I agree with you on that. So 100%. And there's a lot of crazy. I don't think the average person would have caught all the symbolism connected to CERN and portals with this whole Barbie movie. I really, really don't. And my boy Logan from Decode Your Reality, he did an amazing breakdown on Barbie too. It's up on truthmafia.com. And he gets into, Barbie is 13, matching carbon. He has a bunch of different breakdowns on it. I've saved a few to show you here. Like, this is the lady that created it, right? And her name equals 60. The numeric string 60 appears at the 68th decimal digit of the golden ratio. And March 9th is the 68th day of the year when Barbie was released. So you can see how it's all done by the numbers, which I agree with Logan more that we live in some type of an organic simulation that this AI is controlling everything, right? It's like a damn comedian too. But Ruth, she has that November 4th day, which is the 29th card, the 3 of diamonds. And then Rhea Perlman, who played Barbie, right? She's the one that played Barbie, Paranoid American.
She's the one that played Ruth in the movie because Ruth
Right,
didn't play
Ruth.
herself.
Okay. So she has the 18th card, which you add them 2 cards up, you get 47, like Praise Petey 47, Tetragrammaton 47, the 47 degree Masonic compass. So there's a lot of connection there to the simulation. And then you see that number again, 13 with Barbie. The release dates, July 9th and July 21st in the United States, which is the 20th card and the 32nd card, which is 6-7. 6-7. 6-7 is also human sacrifice. But 67 adds up to what? 13. So that's a big number also with Barbie. And then the biggest number with Barbie Land is that 26, matching occult. And every famous woman, just look at what's her face, the Crypt Keeper, Pelosi. She was born on the 26th. All the powerful women have 26 numerology. For example, Queen Elizabeth, born in 1926, coronated on 6-2, the reflection of 26, which black magic is 62. And if you have 26, you got a mirror number, 62. So we see this with the sacred feminine, and Barbie is supposed to be a feminine woman. They talk about it in the opening scene of Barbie, how she set the role for feminism. Remember that part in the opening?
Yeah, I mean, that's where it gets kind of silly.
Yeah, so why don't you take it from there?
Okay, yeah, I was showing you before. Here, I'm gonna
You
put my screen up too.
Yeah, I can add that for you.
So this is the lady that you were talking about, Ruth Handler. She's the one that actually invented Barbie. But
Yes.
for anyone that doesn't know the actual origins of Barbie, is that she had this idea of making an adult doll, like an adult figure doll, and everyone laughed at her. She brought it to Mattel. Mattel didn't want to hear about it. So she went to Germany at some point and saw one of these build Lily dolls. And if you look at it, it almost looks identical to the OG Barbie dolls. So she sees this at a convention, buys it, and then models it after this guy. This build Lily doll becomes the prototype for Barbie, essentially. But what you might not understand is that Lily, this was actually a German comic strip, and the German comic strip was about Lily, who was a German call girl. So this was like the original Lily comic strips, and you can see this is exactly what we're talking about, the origins of Barbie. This is her DNA here. So when they prop up Barbie as being like the feminist icon, the feminist icon. I guess that, you know, sex work is real work, right? That's the new mantra of like of positivity. But essentially, if you get your kid a Barbie doll, it's just a sexual talisman, which it's kind of ironic that it's Lily, because what's Lily, right? Lilith, the Lil were these sort of like demonic entities. That's oversimplifying it a little bit, but the Lil were almost the products of Lilith and Adam. So anything that Adam and Lilith had together ended up not being humans, right? This kind of is where all of the concepts of demons and phantoms and maybe even some of the like the folklore monsters, they were supposed to have come from the brood of Lilith. So, and that was before Adam and Eve. So this concept of Lily and Lilith being this like sexual entity and this talisman, it also brings up mind these original incantation bowls. And I don't know if you've ever heard of these before. These are some of the oldest artifacts that we have from any human culture. And it has these little sketches of Lilith, very often Lilith. And then what they would do is they would write these magical incantations and like these spirals around them. And they would take this and bury it underground, usually outside your house. But for like one of the examples is that if your husband has like a wet dream, they would interpret that as Lilith basically took him over that night, and now your husband's married to Lilith. And in order to have a divorce proceeding, you would make one of these little incantation bowls. It's like, you know, please reverse anything that you did to my husband last night, and you go and bury this outside. But there are so many different versions of these bowls. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, I guess I can zoom into some of these. I don't know if this is like allowed to stream on YouTube, but they were highly sexualized. I mean, this is an ancient artifact, but clearly they meant something. And this again is Lilith, the origin of Barbie and these talismans. Here's another version of what talismans actually represented were stargates. Because what a talisman really is taking this material possession here on Earth. Sometimes it's a stone or it's a piece of wood or it could be a Barbie doll. And based on the astrological alignment from what season you're in, your location, where the planets are above, there's certain times of the year when it's more favorable to say like bring down these gods and the planets or these planet entities and then put them into something. And what they would usually put them into would be these little talismans. But these talismans essentially create these stargates. It creates a link between the firmament and outside the firmament.
Yeah, whatever planets are, I believe there are other realities, other dimensions myself. Each planet has a god that rules over it, which is very interesting. So I don't think it's something like they tell us that's I don't think space is how they describe it. I think there's so much more that goes into that, but that's for a whole nother episode.
And I got one other angle that I'll just jump into it now so we can dive in a little bit. But this is what brought up in my mind as I was watching the Barbie movie, specifically the very end. And I don't even know if there's really like, we're getting into spoilers because the story itself from Barbie isn't as important as some of the motifs and the specific things that they bring up. But one of the ideas at the very end is that she needs to like snap Barbie world out of this new sort of mentality that they've gotten into. Ken goes into the real world and he sees that men run the actual world. So when he goes back to Barbie land, he starts to, you know, like tell all the other Ken dolls, hey, we should be running this place. So he goes there to take that power back. And then what Barbie does is she devises this plan where she's going to make Ken his most vulnerable. She's going to sweet talk him. She's going to be like extra nice to him. And then at the very moment that he feels the most vulnerable, she's just going to, you know, do something that's the opposite of what he expects. She's going to just like throw it in his face. And that's going to kind of like fracture his mind and deprogram him. And they actually use that phrase in the Barbie movie that they're going to deprogram everybody. So here's this book called, this original one, The Illuminati Formula Used to Create an Undetectable Total Mind Control Slave. It's a big mouthful of words, but inside of that, buried deep, is the actual formula for what you would do to create a Project Monarch mind control slave. And I'm just going to read out of these two different steps. Step 3, love bomb the child. And they're talking about children here. In the Barbie movie, they're talking about the dolls, but it feels like they lifted it directly out of this book. So they say that love is given so that it can be taken away. Unless love is given so that it can be taken away, there is no trauma. Illuminati children are never spanked the first year and a half. They're lovingly controlled. This pattern smothering is what you would call love bombing in preparation for removing that love and acceptance to get obedience. This is done by some cults and new members too. Illuminati child learns about their body. They are allowed to function properly and kept clean. They must be taught to appreciate before the trauma of stripping them everything they value. And then here's the final step is called fracturing the mind. And basically they say that, this is actually from the book. The fourth stage is built upon the foundation of disassociation created in the first and second stages, and the love is created in the third stage. The demonology of the first step also helps pull demons associated with programming, tunneling into the mind and multiplicity using the fourth foundational step. And then it basically describes how the child's mind will fracture along the same disassociation fracture lines that the trauma of a premature birth. And then it gets into like the fine minutia here, but you can kind of see this is the exact formula that Barbie uses. She uses love bombing. This one is Fritz, right here, Fritz Springmeier. And he was on Jordan. He was on the 700 Club. Yeah, he got arrested for armed robbery at some point. But yeah, I think he was even on Donut's show. I think Donut had an interview. Well, with
Donut, I know, had the old guy Jordan Maxwell right before he died, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Jordan said that Fritz stole some of his work, but
yeah, Fritz, as far as I'm aware of, is like the authority on, and it's this book that we're looking at right now on the left-hand side. This is the authority of Project Monarch programming. Now, that said, I kind of feel that some of it might have been made up a little bit. Fritz Springmeier reminds me a little bit of John Todd, who also teamed up with Jack Chick from the Chick Tracks, and they were sort of deep into the occult, but also not completely trustworthy.
Right.
Kind of fill in gaps, you know what I mean?
Kind of like the L. Ron Hubbard.
A little bit. I mean, you could throw that. There's a little bit of sci-fi. There's a little bit of reality, all just kind of like mishmash together so that they can form this cohesive book and explain things. But I feel like they fill in more gaps than they need to. But that said, this is some OG conspiracy theory reading material. If you consider yourself a conspiracy theorist and you've never seen or read this before, this should be at the very top of your list, because this is where almost all these other celebrity clones and like the whole pizza stuff and the whole like Sound of Freedom stuff, it stems from this particular type of work and this research.
Oh yeah, by the way, guys, the Sound of Freedom funder has now been arrested for crimes against children. And if you remember, a couple days ago, they took my website down. It was down for a day, and that was the Sound of Free. Actually, it was Angel Studios, and then my lawyers had to reach out to them, threaten them with lawsuits. So now it's back up. But yeah, this guy right here, it just shows you so many people around this are involved in child trafficking and pedophilia and just so many different things.
I love the gaslighting, the gaslighters.
Yeah. No, look, that's the date of court. So the date of court is August 28th when he goes to court, which is 828, which district court is 828. Gaslighting the gaslighters is 828, which is what they're doing right here. They're gaslighting the gaslighters. And the interesting part is he's charged with grooming. He's really charged with taking this minor, pretty much kidnapping a minor under the age of 14, right? And 14 days from the day it happened until the story broke on Obama's birthday, another pedo. And his name, Fabian Marta, is 30, matching Monster 30, Dionysus 30. Dionysus is the god of the LGBTQ community and the pedophilia. Vampirism. Well, that's what these people are doing. They're psychic vampires. They're sucking the energy from these children. That's what they're doing when they cause these children to go through torture. And it's just like Monsters Inc. guys, where they're harvesting the screams and harvesting the fears. And the best information on that, really, I haven't met no one that put out a better documentary than this one right here on, hold on one second, should be right here.
Hell yeah.
Freemasonry and MK Ultra. Paranoid American just did a phenomenal job, and he went through hell to get this out. They kept taking it down.
Well, it took like 3 or 4 months to get this edited just so it wouldn't get flagged, but it's finally out now.
Yeah, it's up on our website. And then I did I'm glad I got you on here. So in the documentary, it brings up this Toxin X,
right?
Which I looked into, that is 666 matching witchcraft and COVID mandate. What is this element, Toxic X?
Toxin X was basically a theoretical substance that Carl Jung believed was in the brain. He thought that there was something that the brain created that turned you crazy, to oversimplify it. And that if they could extract Toxin X and give it to someone else, it would make them crazy. Or if they could extract Toxin X, they could maybe make an antidote for it. So part of the medical community, they were trying to cure dementia, cure Alzheimer's, cure people just acting strange. But then the other aspect was saying like, oh, maybe instead of going through mind control programming and torture and disassociation, what if we can just like make a drug? What if we can just take it and put it into a pill or put it into some kind of like an IV liquid, and then it just immediately makes someone disassociate? So that's what Toxin X was. It was that theoretical substance, which this documentary goes on to show that it's probably adrenochrome.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Like I said, it was one of the best documentaries I had ever seen. And you had your AI breaking it down, didn't you?
Well, so I had the AI voice, but the entire script, all the research, everything is things that I've been working on for the last year. But yeah, the voice is, if you don't recognize it, it's Patrick Stewart from Star Trek.
I love it. I love how you do that, just like you did with our intro with the Unsolved Mysteries guy. It's amazing what you do with these characters. Paranoid
Robert
American.
Stack. Shout out Robert Stack.
Yeah, you really have a talent, brother, when it comes to that. And it's phenomenal. This is a 21-minute documentary, and I was mesmerized the whole time. I don't get excited to decode many people's work. So this was one that really caught me, because we were going over all the X symbolism, remember, connected to Osiris. And then I hear about this Toxin X, and it gets into pharmakia and sorcery and witchcraft, which we were warned about in Revelations 18 through 23. This
is a fascinating topic to me, man. Like I could go on and on about this for days, because I personally think that adrenochrome is like the glue that binds all these different theories together. Like the ones that feel like they might be related, but you're not sure what the connection is. I'm pretty sure I know what the connection is now.
Yeah, it's interesting. And, on here, I don't care. I'll say the word. They say the word adrenochrome came from two words, from Adrenoch and Romulus. Have you ever heard that? Adrenochrome, Rome, Romulus, and Remus. And
I've seen that come up. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And they say General Africanus, from the Africanus bloodline that fought Hannibal, he was the one that went over there to Africa and developed that adrenochrome molecule, and then brought it back to the Saturnalia festivals in Rome. I've heard many people talk about that, which is also pretty freaking interesting. But,
honestly, I feel like that might have been sort of like a king kill ritual, because like you were saying, Africanus, that was the Roman, right? And then he was battling the Carthaginians, which were basically the last remnants of the Canaanites turned Phoenicians. So the second that the Carthaginians fall for the final time through Africanus, then Africanus takes all of that ancient sympathetic magic and all of their old sort of knowledge, and then he converts it into like Roman knowledge. And then that, I think, I mean, in my mind, that is the crux of all of this. It was when sympathetic magic was a state mandated religion. So it wasn't weird and occult because it was exoteric. People were doing all of these practices out in the open. Gematria was almost required for you to do things, right? And then as soon as Rome comes in and they wipe out the Phoenicians and they wipe out the Carthaginians, and then Rome turns all that and makes it underground. They don't get rid of it. They just make it so only the Mithraic cults can do it. Only the male soldiers are allowed to sort of learn about all this ancient history that they stole from everyone that they've defeated since. So I really feel that some of that sympathetic magic to Rome was almost like our Operation Paperclip, right? Like when we took all of the German intelligence that was into the occult and into all these weird things, and we're like, you guys got that through horrible means, and by the way, we're going to profit off of that. We're going to take all that research and then use that to kind of like boost our civilization. It's exactly what Rome did. Rome goes into Phoenicia and goes into Carthage and says, you guys are doing this crazy, wacky stuff, but you've got great results. We're going to take that formula and we're going to purify it and like reuse it for our own goods.
Yeah, it's really is interesting. Have you ever seen this crest? Because me and you did a full breakdown on the Trident. And have you ever seen that Moloch sigil, the Khazarian symbol? Have you ever seen that, bro?
I have not. It reminds me of Fleur de Lis a little bit too. Where's that from?
Well, I found it online when I was looking for Trident symbolism, and I found this whole article, and it led me to a Facebook post where this guy posted it, and I was just like, wow, I never realized the Khazarian symbol was that close to the Ukrainian crest and this Moloch sigil. It blew my mind. I don't know a ton of it, but I was breaking down the connection to, flight MH370 that went missing, that had the Trident on the tail, and then we had the World Trade Center 9/11, the memorial as the big Trident to little Trident, just like the Malaysian flight. And we know the Trident is a symbol of power. It gets into Poseidon, Neptune, Enki, right?
Well, and if you wanted to bring it all full cycle again, it also relates to Enlil. And Enlil, again, from where the Lil and Lilith were derived, he was one of the original weather gods. He predates, basically Zeus, and then Zeus becomes the next weather god, and so on and so on. But we're talking about Enlil as being the OG of all those.
Yeah. And Trident equals 25, matching Black Sun, Nuclear, BlackRock, and Vanguard own everything. There's the Trident nuclear program. And then I found this coat of arms with Ukraine's battalion, and it has A30B on it, which is 1302. And what do you know? 1302 equals Zelensky Satan. Now that's very interesting. So maybe, what was if he's the Antichrist, dude?
I don't know, man. I feel like he's gonna be sort of like Trump opened up politics in the United States to comedians and actors and non-politicians. That's Zelensky too, right? Like if we were to elect Jon Stewart as our president, that would be like them electing Zelensky. He was kind of like a Jon Stewart SNL kind of guy. He wasn't really a politician at any point. He ran off popularity. And again, that's kind of what Trump did, right? That populist vote. So I feel like Zelensky and Trump are equal only in relation to the size of the countries, right? Like Zelensky's obviously not as much of a character as Trump is, but he is within the relation to the Ukraine.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. So like I was talking about in the beginning with the whole quantum entanglement, we're seeing that with the black goo guys. Anybody that has that, I just did a little mini documentary on the black goo. It's on Tommy Truthful 369, my Facebook page. Check it out. It has my little breakdown in the intro, and then at the end, it's this speech this dude's talking about, which is very fascinating, about the history of black goo. And he's saying it came around about 16,000 years ago, and it's used in occult black magic. it's crazy what he's saying about it. You have to watch it later, Paranoid American. It's really fascinating. But with
It always reminds me of the Prometheus decode we did, because that was
right,
the ultimate black goo.
yes, that was a phenomenal decode we did. But I'm surprised we didn't see no black goo in Barbie. But Barbie did have the quantum entanglement where her physical character, the Barbie doll, which is that talisman, is entangled with the DNA of that little girl that played with her in the real realm, which allowed her to cross over through the portal. And even in Barbie Land, when she goes and meets that crazy Barbie that had her hair all chopped up, remember that?
Yeah, she was saying everyone has a crazy Barbie, and it's because
Yeah,
it was always like the one that, like the youngest child in the family, and they just like, you know, destroy the hair and they put marker all over the face and they like spread the legs open. That to me, that was one of the funniest lines though, because they were
yeah,
like,
yeah,
how come weird Barbie's always doing the splits? Because you'd always find like one of those Barbies in like the bottom of the toy bin.
yeah, with her hair cut off,
Yeah.
colors all over, missing an arm and shit. Looked like she lived in Philadelphia, where all the people are high as fuck, nodding out, on the street. That's what she looks like. But she had a lot of knowledge, and she knew exactly what was going on.
Well,
And
she
she
was the
told,
shaman, right? She was like
yeah,
the
she was
shaman
pretty
Barbie.
much the shaman. And that's just it blew my mind when they started talking. That's when I perked up and started listening. When Weird Barbie said a portal opened, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Here we go. Portals, CERN. A lot of the new movies all have this portal symbolism, insidious, which Paranoid American tried to watch it, but he said he couldn't really get into it.
It
I'm
was
gonna
it
have
was just too scary for me.
it is pretty scary, but I'm gonna have you watch it so we can do a breakdown on it because it's phenomenal. And the son, he's doing an art class, right? So he starts to draw this door, and he's the one that opens. Well, his father's dad opened the door that they got to try to shut because it's letting all these monsters into the real world. But when he's sitting in his art class painting, oh shit, it's messing with my feed right now. Why is it doing that? They're all sitting around this giant painting, and who is it? It's Kronos, Saturn, devouring his children. I mean, that to me, I just blew my mind. I'm like, wow. Because, they say a lot of that with the upside down and the further is connected to that realm, Saturn, which is a dimension. And that's the dimension of all this demonic shit, you know?
Yeah, Saturn's supposed to be the entity that represents us being stuck in this material plane. Like Saturn is the lord of materialism in a way. And I always kind of related that to sort of like Satan, right? Like Satan, his domain is supposed to be over the material earth. So I've always kind of linked those two together in that way. That's just my Roman Catholic upbringing though.
Right, right. And in Insidious on the cover, you can see here how they're in this dark place and that red door's back there. That's where they're at right there in the further. The same thing as Stranger Things, the upside down. And guys, just look into the CIA's project for astral projection. Do you know the name of the exact
I
project it
want to
was?
I want to say it's called Stargate. I'll
Yeah,
look it
I
up.
think it is Project Stargate. And, they were putting so much money into this. And they look at Stephen King, guys. Stephen King actually wrote a book about it called The Institute, where they were stealing children with special abilities, telekinesis, telepathy. They would kill their family. So there's no trace of this kid. They'd wipe out the mom, the dad, anybody, brothers, sisters, take this child to this black site where it will be trained through trauma-based mind control and learn to take a picture, target that target, and cause things to happen. So they're in the further, they step out of their body and they're able to cause things to happen via the astral realm and the physical realm. Like they can cause that guy to steer off the road and wreck his car. They were using these kids as like psychic weapons, bro. And Stephen King wrote a book about it called The Institute.
Yeah, I'm looking it up here. So Stargate Project, it was known by a few different code names: Gondola Wish, Grill Flame, Center Lane, Project CF, Project Sunstreak, Scanate, and then finally they just called it the Stargate Project. But it said that it was essentially the CIA's look into remote viewing, and it was related to the Monroe Institute. So I'm assuming that's the institute that Stephen King was talking about. And Stephen King comes up a few times in this kind of research, because in it, he mentions salting the meat. That's one of the creepiest ways that clown, when he scares these children, he wants to salt their meat because it gives it more flavor, like the fear does. And that the younger the children are, the more magical they are. And then in the sequel to The Shining, which was man, I can't remember the names of the second one. Something about like sleeping, but that movie they talk about
wait,
steam.
Doctor Sleep.
Dr. Sleep, yeah, in Dr. Sleep,
Great, bro. That they were harvesting them children for their loose energy, and she was going to the astral realm. She was going to the further and astral
right.
projecting with them children. And that
That's right. That's what I'm
girl,
saying. It's the glue, man. It's the glue that binds all these different sort of components together that's missing out there.
what CERN is doing, they even tell you they're trying to figure out what the glue is that is holding it all together. Their main scientists have said this before.
And this project Stargate, this I believe is the one that ended up influencing the Men Who Stared at Goats movie. I don't know if it's probably in one of these. But they've mentioned it on the X-Files. They mentioned it in a bunch of different angles. This is one of the very many examples of documented proof that the CIA, for real, were training people to do astral projection and training people to do out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences. That we were talking before about this silver cord. This goes into like ancient teachings. The Rosicrucians brought it over to the West, I believe, in like the early 1800s. But this concept has always been around, that when you go to sleep or when you die, your soul is connected to your body through this silver cord. But if it gets severed, then that can be either the end of your life. It could be the creation of ghosts. It could be all sorts of things. Maybe the like the various souls that get detached by that silver cord, they can come together and form these egregores. It's a fascinating topic.
Yeah, it's interesting. And what was they saying at CERN? Like, they said if a house burns down, right, you have the fire, the smoke, and the ash from the house. And they were talking about something where the glue that holds all that together, so it connects all of that. You have you ever heard them talk about that?
No, I haven't.
They're like trying to rebuild that, and it has to do, I can't remember the exact word they said, but they were going into this other realm to fuck with, mess with this stuff. Excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen. And make sure you hit them like buttons, guys. Please hit the like buttons. Helps our video get out to other people, and we greatly appreciate all your love and support. We're streaming this to 4 platforms on here, and then me and Paranoid American will premiere it to both of our rumbles after this. It's streaming to our YouTube channel too, Conspiracy Cinema Saturday Podcast. So if you ain't hip to that YouTube channel, take a second out, go subscribe to it.
And if you ever want to go deeper on this astral projection through the CIA, this is the guy, James B. Channon. He was the one that ran this First Earth battalion. And this was this like new age battalion that was basically, intelligence funded. And you can even see on his Wikipedia page here, it says, after retiring from the army, he continued to promote his concepts, organize as organizational transformation consultant to AT&T, DuPont, and Whirlpool. He was featured in Fortune magazine as the business world's first corporate shaman. Wow. So like he sees himself as a bridge between what you would we would consider like this woo-woo but like connecting with the spirit or connecting with the earth or Jesus, like Christ consciousness, whatever you want to put that label on it. He takes that information and he sells it to the corporate world, or he sells it to the military. He was trying to help the military essentially weaponize this kind of like forward thinking. So if there really was a way to lift your consciousness, this project represents, you know, the military wanting to turn that into a weapon.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And look, dude, I know astral projection's real. I've done it before in a deprivation tank. You know, and these people have, it's like they have weaponized that realm, the further, the upside down. They showed us that in Revelation of the Method and Stranger Things. You know, for that's a form of what, predictive programming, letter magic, where they show us this truth. Do you think it's part of universal law why they show us the truth and it frees them karmically or some type of
That's my
thing
favorite
like that?
example of it. Yeah, it's like, so part of that is to free their karmic. So if I show you what I'm doing before or as I'm doing it, then it frees me up karmically. But the other one too might be, if we really do live in a shared illusion, then by them telling you what's going to happen first, that sets up the reality for whatever they want the illusion to become into a reality. They got to explain it first. So if they just do it without telling you what to expect, then it might not have the same outcome.
Right. Yeah, that to me is so fascinating. And with that whole Montauk chair thing, uh what 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 was that thing, bro? Like there's that story about they were using the Montauk chair and some guy, he was astral projecting this other realm and he pulled a freaking monster out of it and it went running around they had to shut down that facility because of that. You know, and they say that's what Stranger Things is based off of, that whole Montauk project. Where do you think, what do you think that entity was that he pulled out? Do you think it was from this further or the upside down?
Well, I think Preston Nichols, he's the one that actually said that they pulled it out of the future. I can't remember what year it was. It was like in the 3000s or something. But yeah,
Oh,
it was a legit creature slash monster that was like the size of the city. Yeah, I got another screen up here too for more context.
okay. Yep.
This is where it kind of comes from, is the Montauk Project Experiments in Times. It's like a 5-book series that it changes over time. There's another one about the music industry that's really worth looking. I think it's the third one in the series. But yeah, it covers time travel, it covers interdimensional portals. It says here that it's been classified as like a science fiction novel, but it has been the basis for almost every one of these, you know, upside down alternate dimension type of things. And then there's a whole bunch of aspects into magnetic fields. Here's that USS Eldridge, where basically they claim that this ship was turned invisible and then it turned it was visible again. But according to this book in the Montauk Project, what actually happened is that they teleported this entire ship and everyone on it to a completely different dimension where it was in a different time, and this is part of that time travel. And then when it became visible again, that was just it basically coming back into our time continuum. But when that happened, people were like offset a little bit. I guess the inertia or like some kind of the coordinates didn't work, so everything was shifted by like 3 or 4 inches. So if you were next to a wall and then you disappeared and came back, now like, you know, half your arm was welded into the side of the wall. At least that's the rumors behind this USS Eldridge, which is beyond fascinating.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. And I'm trying to find this blog about that, what you're talking about right there. Hold on one second. It's about
Imperial chair.
these disembodied spirits that come in during that rip in the space-time continuum. You know, kind of like what happened in Barbie, where there was this rip and it allowed Barbie to cross over, you know. Hold on one second. Let me you
I
can
got I got something even better than that too, because
yeah, go
in
ahead,
one
while
of
I'm looking
my
for this.
in one of my comics, I've got all this broken down. So I'm going to pull up some page. I'll show you some exclusive pages here. Here we go. And this is a comic book that deals directly with the Montauk chair, with Project Montauk, Camp Hero, all of it. And it doesn't mention Preston B. Nichols by name, but it kind of has a character that is loosely based on him. Oh, here we go.
Oh, here's the one on his movie, The Institute.
That's a Stephen King movie? I don't think I've seen that one.
Well, it's definitely a book. I don't know if it's a movie yet. If it's a movie, I want to watch it. You need me to add your...
Here we go. So this is from issue 4 of Time Samplers. This is the very first comic series I ever worked on. And it opens up and it's still explaining more of Project Monarch. This is called the Daisy Test, which was just to teach kids that they could just indiscriminately be removed depending on whether or not he picked the right pedal. Like it was, I love you not, I love you, I love you not. And if he landed on I love you not, then they would just, destroy that particular person and then move on to the next. And then there was a fire test. It breaks all this down. But then here we go in Camp Hero. And as they walk up to it, you see this iconic little radio tower. And then here it is, the Montauk chair. Sorry, that's the name of it. So here's what the Montauk chair theoretically looked like at the very basement of Camp Hero. And then when you sit into the chair, this is the year 6037 AD. So 6037 is apparently when that monster was pulled out of and brought into our sort of dimension. And it's called this Delta T antenna. So if you want to know about the actual mathematics and the science that are purportedly behind all this Montauk chair and Camp Hero and Project Montauk as a whole, it's this Preston Nichols guy and the Delta T antenna. So highly recommend looking into all that. And then in the story of this comic, this girl Luna, she basically knows how to astral project. So by her sitting in the chair, it just amplifies that ability. And that's kind of the concept, right? That's like 11 being like trained to know how to do water.
It. Yep. Yeah.
And this, by the way, this comic way predates Stranger Things too, but they obviously have way better promotion.
Yeah. Now, I seen Red Pill True said there's only 5 people. No, bro, we're streaming this that's just on our YouTube that we just started. There's hundreds of people in this live right now. It's on my big Facebook. My Facebook with 60,000 followers. It's on my one with 30,000 followers. We have several hundred people in the live, but yeah, on that little YouTube, there's only a couple people. We usually don't stream it there. We just started, so we got to build that up. And again, that's Conspiracy Cinema Podcast. Go subscribe to it on YouTube. But yeah, I wanted to show something. We're almost at the hour point, so we don't like to drag these out too much. But I want to touch on a few things real quick. You see if this opens up.
I got something else too I wanted to throw about Barbie.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Here's the book. This is on my boy truthscrambler.com. He's an amazing person. Truthscrambler.com. Check him out, guys. He's part of the Truth Mafia. Children being used as psychic weapons. Stephen King, The Institute. The novel is about a secret government project that tracks children gifted with psychic abilities, mainly telekinesis and telepathy. These children score highly on the BDNF readings, brain-derived neuropathic factor. Standardized tests through the school systems can provide the government with that data. These rare children are then kidnapped, their parents murdered, and they are put in the Institute, a black site where they are trained to further develop these latent abilities. Once the child has been poked, prodded, tested, tortured, she becomes part of the group think psychic weapon, one that can remotely take out a target by simply focusing their energy on that purpose or on that person. In preparation for the attack, the children are forced to watch surveillance videos of the target in question. They can then make their car steer off the road, or they can make the person poison themselves, and it looks like an accident or a suicide, a clean kill. And we see that with a lot of these famous people, that allegedly die of drug overdoses and stuff like that. What if it's deeper than that, and it's these psychic weapons being used? And he has all the links in here to the different interviews. I think they took this one out. Let me see. Arizona Wilder. Yeah, that one's hard to find anymore. They took it out of there. She was breaking down like all the MK Ultra stuff they did to her.
Yeah, she's the one that had an interview with David Icke, I believe.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking crazy what was going on with her. And guys, over on truthfultv.com, I seen some people down in the comments talking about this grounding mat. I have one on my bed. And they can target you in REM sleep. They can transfer your consciousness into a simulation where they can torture you over and over again. It's not transferring you into a clone like Donald Marshall said. They don't need that. The technology is so far beyond that. They can transfer your consciousness into a simulation, which seems so real, and kill you over and over and over again. With this mat, it grounds you while you're sleeping. So if you're getting hit with direct energy weapons or any of that shit, it won't be able to affect you. And that's on Truthful TV on our shop page, where we got gummies, we got the best Delta 8 in the game. These get you more high than any other strand on the market. Trust and believe me. And we ship worldwide. It says certain states we don't ship to. They make me put that there. I shipped all of them. I don't give a shit. And then we have technology that blocks the 5G. So that's all over on truthfultv.com. And like I said, check out the gematria calculator over here. We got all this new content getting loaded up. I finally got the AI automatically loading everyone's videos. So you should be checking daily now Truth Mafia, maybe a couple times a day, because it's going to have all the best content creators in the game are part of Truth Mafia. And if you want to become a member of Truth Mafia, reach out to me. Text me. If you blow my phone up, I'll block you. 234-425-2099. Shoot me a text if you're a content creator and you want to be part of the family. I'll have my team look into you. Make sure you're not a Jesuit agent, and you can become a member on here. We have over 350,000 people on our email list that we send the daily update out to, and you can join that right here. You just put your email in, get updates, and then we have the made members email list too. We have one that we do over here on Truthful TV. I send that out personally to my people. And, if you decide to do the astrology, numerology reading, any of that, you'll be put on that made members thing automatically. And all you got to do is look in the descriptions and you'll see all the links. And again, Paranoid America stuff. So what was the last thing you wanted to share with us, brother?
I wanted to say I find this really dangerous, and I bring this up on my Occult Disney podcast too. But Disney does the same thing that this Barbie movie does, and just the Barbie dolls themselves. But in the very beginning, when they talk about that portal, right, and how they link it together to Barbie, I don't have anything special to show visually. You can show my notes here, but the thing that's dangerous is actually convincing children that they can bind and they can bond with their material possessions. So like this toy that you give them to convince a child that if you invest your attention and you invest your emotions into this inanimate object, that somehow it's going to be connected to you, it's going to bind to you. So outside of the talisman aspect, even if you don't believe in magic and you don't believe in woo-woo, what this is actually doing though is it's taking an actual like the real estate inside your child's brain and inside their heart, and a certain amount of that is now going to be devoted towards a Barbie doll. Or in the Disney world, right, it's going to be this IP. Disney's even a little bit more sneakier about it, because you put on a Disney movie and the first thing that happens is Disney kills your parents, right? They say like, here's Bambi's mom, okay, Bambi's mom's gone. Or here's the kid, okay, the kid gets kidnapped from the parents, and now here's this new authority figure, here's this new, and I call that the Disney proxy. And it basically just convinces children to put their trust more into these trademarked characters than they would into their own parents or their own, you know, community. And this Barbie movie just sort of doubles down on that by saying, you know, if you love your Barbie enough, then it'll come to life, and it's got this whole life outside of your world that you're experiencing. And to tell that to children and get them to like really invest in it, it's like a generational mind control, you know, programming formula, and it's just going to keep repeating, because through the very dangerous drug of nostalgia, you pass on that programming, you know, further and further, and now it becomes a generational, you know, magical ritual with these talismans created by this corporate entity, and this corporate entity and their talisman are going to outlive all of us. And I just feel like that's more dangerous than being afraid of, you know, monsters in the dark or like evil entities. This is an actual evil entity that is taking focus, like actual loosh, right? And it's putting it into this doll.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And I totally agree with that. That, you know, it's like the thought forms I talked about, and they can create that real reality. Dude, they're hitting my live right now so bad, dude. Like, I can't even put comments up. It's freezing them, and they're doing something weird. It just started happening a couple minutes ago. Is the audio and everything good, guys? I can't even take the comments down.
I can hear you pretty clear.
Yeah, now it's starting to just put comments up on its own. It's doing the weirdest shit, bro. I don't know what's going on right now. I'm trying to stop it, but it's not working.
And I'm reading one of the comments that says that like some people keep Disney out of their house for some of these reasons. I think that's a great idea. There's a caveat with that too, though, because
Monica.
It's weird, because now you might be ostracizing your kids from other kids in their social groups, because it's like, oh, what do you mean you've never seen any Disney movie? It would be like, what do you mean you've never played Fortnite? Like, now the cultural aspect, there's like a peer pressure to like, no, go watch Disney, go be indoctrinated, go fall in line and get your programming. Well, and I'm saying you shouldn't care, but what does happen is that like an 8-year-old surrounded by their friends that are like, oh, how come, you know, oh, your parents don't let you watch Disney? That's weird. That's just another way that they get you to like want to be programmed.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Everything they got going on with that. But yeah, that was Monica who said that. And I Monica, keep Disney out your house, man. You know, they're evil. They're evil as shit. Remember in the Simpsons episode, bro? I should have screenshotted that part. It was the 666 episode, and Maggie was possessed by that Pazu, that reptilian Mesopotamian.
Pazuzu. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when they said, look, Maggie has the mark of the beast on her, first they showed the Disney sign, and then they say, not that one, I mean this one, and show the 666. You remember that?
I don't remember that part. I love that though. And honestly, I think Simpsons is just as bad as Disney.
Oh yeah, but they showed they showed Disney first, and it literally blew my mind. And Paranoid American, I found some crazy connections, bro, with the Simpsons to this upcoming
Homer Scissorhands. Was that one of the episodes?
Yeah. It's the next 9/11 ritual, bro. There's several of them. Hold on, let me figure out how to get rid of these comments, because this is driving me fucking absolutely nuts. I can't make the comments go down. Hold on one second. Hide. I don't know how they're doing that.
I remember seeing this bridge scene. It reminded me of the Mothman Chronicles.
Yeah, man.
You ever seen that movie?
No, but this was season 22, episode 20, which is 222. And Corona happened 222 months after 9/11. 222 is order out of chaos. Homer Scissorhands equals 81, like Golden Gate Bridge and Freemasonic ritual. And then there was one more I want to show you real quick. It was from a different episode. This one was real interesting. It was connected to Bart, I believe. Hold on 1 second. See, it's taken forever to show my slides and just started doing this. It's very weird. As long as everybody could hear us good, though, that's all I care about. It says bridge complete next April. So, there that might be the month when it happens, not freaking August like a lot of these decoders say, because they have no idea what they're really talking about. It's just an 8/11 ritual because it's connected to Wormwood. Revelations 8:11. And when they destroy the Golden Gates, the Golden Gate Bridge represents Osiris. This will be the putting Osiris back together again. It represents the gate of the gods above us that the Messiah comes back through. So they want to destroy that, the Golden Gates, and bring forth this Antichrist. And the bridge goes over the current, right? So destroy the physical currency, bring us into the digital beast system. And 9/11 on the East Coast represented the silver gates of man, the twin towers, the two becoming the one. And on the opposite side, the West Coast, we got the Osiris ritual. And smack dab in the middle, where the twin eclipses make the X over the New Madrid fault line, is St. Louis. So I think there will be one there as well. But
and the Mothman prophecy bridge collapse was the Silver Bridge.
Oh, I need to add your stream. Hold on.
Yeah, I was looking this up just because when I saw the Simpsons one, it reminded me of this, and this is the Silver Bridge collapse from the Mothman prophecies, which is a great movie. The actual conspiracy theory is a little bit different than the movie, but if you haven't seen the movie, it's well worth watching. And basically, it's like this demon / cryptid that can communicate through technology. So it figures out how to talk to you through the phone, and it's telling people that this bridge is going to collapse, but it doesn't, like, we're not able to understand it properly. So this, this tragedy happens.
I watched this back in the day with my mom. She was in love with that guy.
Richard Gere, yeah. It's a wild movie. It's a great premise, man. This is like one of my very favorite sort of like X-Files-esque movies.
Yeah, they say this entity exists in another dimension, right?
Right, yeah, the Mothman.
Yeah, so yeah, that's all very interesting. We did 1 hour and 17 minutes, which Truth Mafia equals 117. My birthday, January 17th. So we're going to go ahead and end on that note. Paranoid American, you got anything you want to plug real quick, brother?
Just, paranoidamerican.com, and then check out the latest it's upside down, the homunculus owner's manual that I did with Juan from the One-on-One podcast. I got this one. I got the MK Ultra. And honestly, the coloring books on Amazon have been blowing up lately. So if you got any interest at all to just do some mindless coloring, it's a great sort of meditation, to just like color things in without even having to worry about it. And I think I've got the only really good conspiracy theory coloring books on all of Amazon. So if you just look for Paranoid American on Amazon, it'll come up.
It's an amazing site. And, you can get any of his merch over on paranoidamerican.com. All his links are in the description. I've seen people throughout the comments. Where's the links? They're in the description. You see that thing running across the bottom of the screen? All links are in the description. Please hit the like button. Thank you, guys. I love y'all. And we really had a great time doing this video with you guys, as we always do. By the way, me and Paranoid American are going to be doing a lot more. I'm bringing him in to the Truth Mafia. So he's already a member, but I'm bringing him in with an ownership of it. And, he's just going to help me with a lot of things. And I see some amazing things in the future for you guys, what we're going to create. And we're
going to go hard, man. We're going to go hard, and we're going to bring content that no one else is able to bring. So I'm excited about that.
Me too, man. And that's what it's all about, bringing the best content to our people. You know, we don't have to agree with everybody that's on there, but I need to believe in them, that they believe what they're saying and they're not an agent just pushing out shit for disinformation. Because I'm not going to agree with everything, you know, so that's cool. I don't need to, but I need to believe that they believe it. And with that being said, we love y'all. Make sure you smash that like button, share this video, and check out the links down below, paranoidamerican.com and truthmafia.com. We're out.
Peace.
Peace.